rather be bashful. And 7 BRB. I don't know. Is that like one of the 7 dwarfs or something? 7 BRB. I'll put you on the list. This is Kilo 1 Bravo Alpha Delta taking early check-ins for the net with no name, which will begin in 5 minutes. Alrighty, 1 minute left. 1 minute left. If you want to check in for the net with no name, now would be that time. We'll be starting in 1 minute. All right, well, it was less than a minute. What can I say? Good evening and welcome to the Monday edition of the Net with No Name. My name is Mello with the Friends of Amateur Radio Group, and my call sign is Kilo 1 Bravo Alpha Delta. Today I am coming to you from Rainham, Massachusetts, and I'll be in a control for this evening. As Net meets every Monday and Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, with early check-in starting a half hour prior. This is a directed net, and all communications will come through net control from all its members. Net with No Name serves multiple purposes to promote the use of C4 FM system fusion and have fun and practice a nationwide net in case of an emergency. But before I go any further, as is practice around here, we will say the Pledge of Allegiance. We're going to drop it. And with that, if there is a flag nearby, would you turn to the flag? Remove any non-religious headwear. Hand over your heart as we say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May God bless America. All right, with that, I'd like to thank the Friends of Amateur Radio Group for their continued support, giving us QSO America to be able to host this net. Through membership and donations, Friends of America Amateur Radio Group, easy for me to say, has been able to create QSO America both on Fusion and All-Star Link. Please check out FARG at farg.club. Also, if you're listening and or new, which most of you guys have been in here before, you can check out QSO America's Facebook page by going to QSOAmerica.com. Dropping again. Alrighty, with that tonight we are using NetLogger. If you don't have NetLogger, you can go to netlogger.org to download, but it's not a requirement. Just write down the call sign that follows you. All right, so before we go through the list, I'll go over some rules. Please don't click in or break between stations as we progress down the list. I'll ask for check-in several times throughout the net, so you'll have an opportunity to check in if you haven't done that already. Give it 4 to 5 seconds in between passing stations. This gives the system time to reset and gives time in case of emergency for somebody to get in there and get their situation in there. So if you're not using NetLogger again, please write down the call sign of the station following you so that you know who to pass it on to, because this will help the net keep rolling smoothly. All right, I'll give a topic or question for the evening, but we're not limited to that. As we all know, free to share with the group anything from how your day went to growing tomatoes. Again, all hams are welcome and encouraged to join our net. So with that, before I go through the list and give the question, are there any further check-ins for the net with no name?
K7 HAM. This is N4NP with a proxy check-in. He's monitoring us on YouTube. He'll check in N9 LCR, November 9, Lima Charlie Romeo, Randy. He's listening on YouTube.
Alrighty, K7 HAM acknowledged. Alrighty, and with that, I will go down the list, read the list, and then give tonight's question. So, beginning with 89 JSX, Tony. If you would pass it down to AC4M, Craig over to Gary, N70ND, N70ND over to Bob, K7RKL, which then goes over to Scott, KN4HND, Scott over to Adam, N4NZ. Adam, over to John if he's still around, K1JWP. And John, over to Jim, WA4RX. Jim, over to Bill, N7BRB. And Bill, over to Lynn, K7HAM. And tonight, Lynn, so far, you are our tail gunner. So you can pass it back up to net control, and then we'll check some more check-ins. So with that, Tony, 89 JSX, the question for this evening. A wonderful thing called antennas, like mobile antennas. As we travel the roadways, have we had to replace antennas? Why? Just regular maintenance? Or one of those oops moments where something has caused us to lose an antenna? And while you're telling us about the antenna, what is your favorite mobile antenna? And what do you have on your vehicle now? So, a little bit of information there, but give it a shot. So, antennas, mobile, have you lost one? Have you replaced one just regular maintenance? Or has there been other reasons for replacing it? Pick it up, Tony. 89 JSX from K1 BAD.
PD 89 JSX. Thanks, Mello. And I got a funny story. I lost the antenna off my truck, and that put me out of commission for a little while. The SO239 connector that it was screwed into cracked in two, or cracked off, and the antenna was gone. And it was one of them $99 high gainers. And after a week of traveling out on the road, I brought my truck back into the yard and parked it in the parking spot, and I was walking out to where my girlfriend was going to pick me up, and I was walking past a puddle, a deep puddle. In truck lots there's always deep puddles, but anyway, I see a little bit of an antenna sticking up out of the puddle, and I reached down into the puddle and pulled up my antenna out of the puddle. And I dried it out, got a new bracket, and remounted it. So I am that same antenna, that's a lucky antenna now, has been on the truck for a little over, maybe I guess it's going on close to 2 years. And I'll send it to AC4M from KD9JSX.
Thank you very much, Tony. For antennas, one day I was driving down the road and all of a sudden I heard bang. What in the world was that? I stopped and looked out, and my stinker of the antenna was missing. How did that happen? I looked up the road, and there was my stinger wrapped around a power line. This was right after a thunderstorm. There was a tree that fell down on I guess it was more like not a power line, but a telephone line. And a tree fell down and hit that wire, and it made it come down close to the road, and I didn't realize it. That thing wrapped around it, and they came out there to fix it. They got the stinger off of it and left it with that guy, and I came back later and got it. And another time I was driving up in the mountains, and I hit a tree limb, and it snapped the stainless steel whip on it. I don't know how that happened, but it did. And for the best antenna I've ever had for 2 meters, that Hustler CGT 144. That's one heck of an antenna, 5/8 over a quarter, quite tall, but very powerful antenna. And I'm using the High-Q Prana antenna. It's the only HF antenna, multi-band HF antenna I ever had. And it seems to be a pretty rugged antenna. It's approximately 9 or 10 foot tall. And I had a fun time during field day. Went up on top of the mountaintop and operated up there. And it was mostly by myself, but it was very quiet up there, and got to see the sandstorm come through, and put a little dusting all over my car and all that. and very thick in the air. You can see it when you look out towards the horizon. But it got very, very wet afterwards, and had to deal with all that fog and all that. But didn't get above about 74 degrees the whole time I was up there. So with that, I'll turn it over to K7DND. This is AC4M.
This is N7DND. Good evening. I use a Comet products. I have a lip mount that I put on my truck, and I use their products for their antennas depending on where I'm at. I've got one that's short and one that's long, but I've never had one fall off. I guess I've just been lucky over the years. I used one of those HF rigs that Yaesu makes that goes up and down, something 100, and that never worked very well, but it did go up and down sometimes. But I've never been lucky to do that. A little bit about field day. I did talk to Tony briefly on Saturday night, and it was pretty quiet. I made schedules with certain people that I talked to and make sure that they got the contact, and that was about the extent of my field day. I'm not a big contester. I'm more of a rag chewer, as I can tell. Okay, I'm going to pass it over to K7RKL and 7DND.
Well, thank you, Gary. Yeah, as a truck driver, I had a lot of misfortunes with dual band antennas, but I stuck with the Diamond NR770 with the adhesive back, and just taped that to the front of my cab. The first one I had probably had close to 1,000,000 miles on it, and I never really had a problem with it. I took it off of one truck, put it on the other, scraped the tape off, and put some new two-sided tape back on, and it just kept on going. But I decided to buy a new one when I got in this truck, and well, I'll tell you what, this truck has been tearing up coax, and it's been tearing up I don't know. The antenna's kind of nice because it's all one piece. It's adjustable at one end, but it's just, for the 2-meter 440, it's one piece with a coil. There's no adjusting it, but it's got a nice dB gain, so I just stick with it. But I guess that's about it for the. It's kind of fun when you're driving down the road and the tape comes loose and they fall down across your windshield. or I had one at one time, it fell down and went next to the door, just kind of hung right there. So, but I haven't lost it yet. Anyway, pass it over to Scott, KN4HND. This is K7RKL.
K7RKO in the group. Good evening, everyone. And I knew as soon as I put a cracker in my mouth, it would be my turn. So, story of my life. Let me swallow this thing real quick. Well, I've never had a mobile amateur radio in a car, and got my ticket after I couldn't drive anymore, so there's that. And but I used to have CB in my car all the time, and I always had either a Wilson antenna or a K40 antenna, and always had a Curva CB. And but as far as portable handy-talkie antennas, I'm kind of a cross between Diamond and Comet. So that's pretty much the extent of my antenna knowledge. And a lot of people say those Nagoya antennas are pretty good.
So I haven't tried one of those yet, but I've always had good luck with diamond antenna. And field day to me is just another Saturday. I got on the here that morning, and it got pretty hot here later that afternoon. We had pop-up showers all day Saturday and Sunday, so I stayed here around the house, didn't do much. So with that, I'm going to pass it down to Adam, N4NT from KN4HND.
Well, good evening, everybody on the net. I tried to do this a few minutes ago. I don't think I got through, but Randy, N9KKN, asked me to check him in by proxy. He's monitoring on YouTube. So, yeah, if you wouldn't mind to check him in, I guess, as checked in and out or what have you, we can put him on the list. But yeah, as far as mobile antenna goes, I got my ticket when I was 15, so I had to, it wasn't driving my own car. If I did anything mobile, I had to improvise. And I had this neat little gadget that you could take your rubber duck antenna from your HT and put on it, and just put it over one of the windows and roll it up, and it did pretty good. And then I tried various things over the years when I got my own vehicles. I always had some kind of situation where I didn't want to drill a lot of holes or permanently mount anything, so I never did I've used NMO antennas, but I never did drill a hole in the body of the car and bolt it down. I had one that it was a mount that would I could drill a hole in like on one of the inside fenders next to the hood, and it would kind of hang over the fender a little bit without actually putting it in a noticeable area. Everything else I've had has always held up good. Current situation right now, I'm using a mag mount on my van, and the only issue I ever have with it is go through a low-hanging drive-through, and it might get knocked over, and I have to jump out and stand it back up. But it does really good. And then on my work car, I've got they let me put a dual band radio there, and I use they told me no permanent modifications, so I use a NMO trunk mount, and that holds up really well. As a matter of fact, let me reset it real quick. As a matter of fact, that it's a trunk lip NMO style mount made by Tram, and that has held up better than the radio shop installed antenna on my police radio. I go through one of the automatic car washes here in town, and one day I went through there, and it grabbed a hold of the antenna, the police radio antenna, and jerked it through the little rubber boot, and pulled it apart and all that good stuff. And I pull up somewhere to run radar or something, and my radio starts buzzing at me, telling me it's out of range. So I get out and look, and I don't have an antenna. So my personal installation held up better than Motorola's. So the way I fixed that, though, they make some little, for 800 megahertz, they've got these little low-profile antennas. It's about as big around as a 50-cent piece and about 2 inches tall. I switched out for one of those and haven't had an issue since. So that's some of my ventures with mobile antennas over the years. And with that, I will turn it to K1JWP John.
K1JWP, K1BAD, you still on, John? All right, I know John was tied up with something, wasn't sure if he was going to be in here, so Jim, pick it up, WA4RX from K1BAD.
Okay, thank you, Mello. This is WA4X from K1BAD. Well, over the years, I've gone through whole bunch of, I hate to say it, a whole bunch of antennas. When I worked in Richmond, I had to go into a parking garage, and having a big Suburban, half the time I forget to lower the antenna. I had to use a mag mount. I broke probably the tips off of 3 or 4 antennas when I forget to take it down. And so I got a van now, and when I first got it, I put one on the crossbar. It has the roof bars, and I put one on the crossbar, and it didn't take me about 3 weeks before I forgot it was up, and I got to take it down and tore it off the roof. So I gave up on the roof mounts and went back to the trunk mount. And I've had that on since 2014, and it's still holding up good. I did have to tighten it up a year ago, but it's holding up real good. I got a Diamond NR 770 on it, and works real good for me. So anyway, that's my story on antennas. If anybody wants them without the tips, I got 2 or 3 of them laying around. I'll be glad to give them. If I knew how long the tips were and where they were broken, I'd replace them, but I don't know that. So anyway, that's my antenna story, and I'm sticking to it. So pick it up, Bill. N7 BRB WA4X.
Well, thank you, Jim. WA4RX and 7BRB. Oh, antenna stories. Wow. Uh, well, the only thing I can say is my antenna seemed to be a bird magnet or a bat magnet. Anything that seems to fly seems to hit my antennas. I don't know why. So they're not that high off the truck. All I got is 4 or 5 of them up there. So, but it seems to take out the bugs and take out the birds and the bats. Well, that's not all I got. So I'll pass it over to Len. K7HAM and 7BRB.
Okay, thank you, sir, Mr. BRB. K7HM in the net. Thought I'd jump on here and say hi to the guys. My mobile antenna stuff has run the gamut over the years, from mobile mounts to and all that. Currently, I'm using an MFJ universal mount on the tailgate of the Subaru. It's kind of a cool mount. You can mount it pretty much anywhere and move it to any. So if you want it up or down or left or right or whatever. And so far it's holding up. It's down. It's mounted low, so I don't have to worry about it hitting the doors or anything like that. And I know it affects the radiation, but I just as soon save the antenna rather than getting that extra little mileage there. So other than that, it's back up to you, Mr. Mello. K1BAD in the net, K7HAM.
K7HAM, K1BAD. Thank you, Len. Good to get you in here tonight. And antennas, gotta love it. Well, before I give my comments, are there any other check-ins? Any other check-ins for the net with no name? Come now. Alrighty, nothing heard. Well, let's see. I typically, all my antennas have been mag mount antennas, and usually diamond. I just a couple of years ago when I bought the SUV, I decided I did not want a mag mount on the top of that thing, and especially since I've been pulling into a garage every day, and I know inevitably I will forget. I will topple that thing over, and I'll probably break it. So I ended up getting a Larson window mount antenna, dual band antenna, and that seems to work pretty well with the radio that I have. I used to have a lip mount on the old Accord there, and that works for a while. But I like the glass mount for the SUV, and every once in a while, just for giggles, I'll throw a mag mount on the top if I know I'm not going to work, and use the diamond, but because I like the diamond antennas. But the Larson actually does pretty good, so I can't really complain as far as a dual band antenna. I haven't had any major catastrophes where I've had to replace one, and I actually used to have a small 2 meter diamond antenna on my cruiser back in the day when I had the unmarked. Since we didn't really use doing detective work, we really didn't use the patrol radio. I was equipped with one, so took their antenna and put it in the trunk, and then put my little 2 meter antenna. And the only people who actually recognized that that was an amateur radio antenna were other hams. So I would drive around and talk to my ham buddies while I was working. Fun days. So with that, go back up over the list. Let me drop for a moment. Alrighty, so the list as it stands: K9JSX, 2 AC4M, 2 N7DND, 2 K7RKL, KN4HND, N4NT. Adam, you can give John another try there, K1JWP, but if he doesn't answer, then Jim, you pick it up, WA4RX, and then it goes to N7BRB, and then K7HAM, and Lynn, you're still our tail gunner. So with that, I'll pick it up right after you, and we did recognize N9KKN. Thanks for checking him in, Adam. And Bill was in and out earlier, K1PXF. So with that, Tony, pick it up, KD9JSX from K1BAD.
K89JSX. I kind of keyed kind of fast, so let me just make sure I got it. Anyway, nice hearing everybody out here tonight, and I'll say 73s. I do have one real quick antenna story. Matt and I were at Dayton, and my ATAS 120 caught a bird on the top, and when we got out and looked at it, it was bent. You can see exactly where the bird hit it on the top stinger there. Anyway, 73s everybody, 89JSX over to AC4M.
Tony, this is AC4M. I was operating during field day as K4U. I did make contact with W7U, W4U, and W9U, and also N9LCR, and also Adam there. I didn't even realize it even worked until he told me. I was too tired to even recognize their call sign, but shout out to all those guys in the far got in contact with me, and everybody have a great night and take care. And 73. This is AC4M over to N4DND. Sorry, N7DND. I don't know what's wrong with me. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's a 7 in this group. N7. I know you guys are all 4s back there, but I'll be a 7 any day. Anyway, it was fun. It was a good weekend, and KJ reminded me it was an ATAS antenna that I had on my truck when I was running HF Mobile. It never fell off, but never worked well. So again, I don't know which is worse, the fall off or the not work. But either way, it was my HF Mobile was not my favorite thing. So that's why I've got what I have now. So I'll say 7-3s to all you guys, and it was fun chatting with you. Mellow, good subject, my friend. And maybe we'll see you all in the morning at the net. N7DND over to let's see, K7RKL. Were you the one that was with Sean out in Nevada? N7DND.
Yes, sir, and I got the mosquito bites to prove it. Oh man, my body is tore up. Mosquitoes and the horse flies. Well, jeez, I got bit up pretty bad. Anyway, uh, thanks. It's good to hear everybody on here, and just wanted to throw my 73s there, buddy. Scott, you're next. KN4 HND. This is K7RK.
K7RKO. In the group again, everybody. Hope everyone's having a good evening. I meant to, forgot to ask about this first go around. If anyone's ever tried those short, they look like little bitty shark fins or little bitty hockey pucks that I've seen on Amazon, flipping through their amateur radio stuff. I was just wondering if those things were any good. I've always been told that location and height is the best thing for an antenna, and your antenna is actually more important than your radio. So that's what I've always been told. So I've always tried to buy the best antenna that I can afford. So with that, 73 everyone, and we'll hope to see everybody here tomorrow morning on the Easy to Hear Net. This is KN4HND, back down to Adam in 4NT. Take it away, Adam.
All right. Well, good evening, and yeah, hope to make the Easy to Hear Net in the morning. I will try my best. I'm off work, and I've got to be up early anyway to do a few things. If I can get back home in time, I'll try to put it on YouTube like I'm doing this net tonight. Can't make them all, but I try to get as many as I can out there. And so if anybody wants to check out their audio, at least on the how it's coming through on the Wires X side of things, and head over to Ham Radio's own YouTube channel and check out this one and a few others, some in the archives. But yeah, I will mention the field day activity. I heard Craig talk about it there. I saw him on the air a few times, and I got him at least once, if not twice. I'll check my log and see. And then I was able to work Randy and as well as only farm stations that I could get. Of course, I was doing my activity on behalf of the Bristol Amateur Radio Club, who I normally work with, and I'm president right now. So I posted a score for those guys, and I was quite impressed with it. I wanted to work mostly digital. I did do some sideband contacts, and well, that was pretty much it between that FT4, FT8, and went all over the place with it. I came up with about 449 contacts, and my score with all the bonuses and everything was just a little over 2,000 points. So I was really tickled with that. I operated most of the field day. I took a short amount of time to sleep, got back up early, and got back on the air, and really made a good contest go of it. So can't do that for all of them, but I'll make the exception for field day and try to really run that one. But anyway, hope everybody has a good evening, and I will turn it over to John here. This is N4NT, saying 7-3. Turn it over to K1JWP.
Okay, I didn't hear him, K1JWP, so I guess he isn't able to get back. This is WA4X, and, well, I did a little bit of field day. I was stuck mainly to voice, and didn't do too much because my schedule was 2 a.m. to 4 a.m., and it was pitiful. It was very difficult trying to work voice at that time. I was getting very few contacts. And Tony, I called Tony up and so I could hook up with he and Matt, and we couldn't hook up on 20 meters. But I got to tell you, Tony, said you were having trouble with your 991, and I would have hollered at you, and you would have never heard me because I had the dadgum mic set up for data, not mic for voice. So it took me till 2 o'clock in the morning when I got on the shift and realized I didn't have any audio, and I had to go in the menu and change it. So I got to tell that one on myself, Tony. Anyway, I did talk to Dennis in Georgia and got that one for them and for our club too, K4 High BW. So did have a lot of fun, but voice was pitiful. And I understand you guys really tore up digital, so that's good news. And I'm glad some of the other members of our club did that too, so they had good results. But I did the win. That's 200 points right there. Message to the section manager and 10 emails via radio. So did that. I always do that. Nobody else in the club is interested in that aspect of it, a packet radio. And anyway, that's it for me. And I'll say 73. Everybody good net tonight. Thanks for going in and pitching in and helping Matt out, Mello. And you guys have a good rest of the evening. N7 BRB, this is WA4X.
WA4X and 7 BRB. Thank you, Jim. Well, I made one contact on field day. But I did hear Tony, K9GSX, when he was up there on, I think it was 40 meters. But I couldn't get back to him. I did hear him. I thought I heard Gary, D&D, at the same time, but it was just too noisy. And we had a storm in the area, so I was fighting the lightning strike, so I just shut her down. Played safe that way. So I'll say 73. Thanks for doing the net there, Mr. Bad Boy. And we'll catch everybody Wednesday. Say 73s, and I'll pass it over to Lynn. K7HAM, November 7, Bravo, Romeo, Bravo.
Thank you, sir. And won't hold long. Make it a quick 73 round here. And hopefully I get to check in a little more regular. Got my HRI 200 back up and running. Had to rebuild the Windows machine. I hate Windows. But whatever. Mello, back to you. Not going to hold it, and we'll say 7-3 to all the guys on the net, and look for you next time. K1BAD in the group, K7HM.
K7HAM, K1BAD. Oh, very good. Thank you, Lynn. It's always good to hear you in here. Thanks, everybody who checked in tonight. And Tony, you had me chuckling there with that antenna story earlier today. And, no birds have ever hit my antennas, but the one thing that I've always found curious is I can't count how many times I've gone out and looked at the antenna and there's a dragonfly sitting right on the tip of the antenna. I don't know what it is. Never a bird, always the dragonflies. Go figure. Well, before I close the net, any last minute check-ins? This is your last chance. Any last minute check-ins before I close the net? Alrighty, with nothing heard in closing, I'd like to remind everyone that on Fridays, Teapot and PU's Tech Friday Net meet at 8 p.m. Eastern, and that's on All-Star. And you can get into the All-Star node by way of DMR, talk group 313-5550. Also, we have our sister net, the Easy to Hear Net, which meets every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday morning at 9:30 a.m. Again, with half-hour early check-ins on all our nets. So we look forward to hearing everybody on those nets. And again, I'd like to thank the Friends of Amateur Radio Group for hosting this net on QSO America. If you'd like to submit questions or topics for the net, please send emails to Matt, n9ybk@arrl.net, and Sean, W7AZC@arrl.net. So with that, I'll be closing the net at 1:40 UTC and return QSO America to its normal amateur radio use. So 73s, God bless, and good to hear everybody in here tonight.